Beth.
Who are you?
So here we are, episode 3 of Quantum Leap. Now, in giving us some answers, is this show giving us too many questions at the same time? Let's talk about this episode and let's explore that.
Each leap is a stopping point on a way to this endpoint.
So he's not coming home anytime soon.
In the 1970s. I'm a boxer whose title shot is tomorrow.
He looks like he wants to kill you.
Not helping.
So, hi everyone, this is AJ and welcome back to the channel and my weekly review series for the new Quantum Leap series. Good luck to you if you're still sticking around for this show. I know a lot of people have probably jumped ship and we'll be talking about that as well. Now, before I get into this, please consider hitting the subscribe button, come and join the channel. But more importantly, why not leave a comment down below your thoughts on this show, on this episode, on Quantum Leap overall, whatever you want to talk about. I do respond to all comments eventually. But I will say, before I delve in, there may be spoilers in this review.
Oh boy.
Maybe go away, watch the episode first and then come back. Up to you. You've been warned. So this episode here is entitled Somebody Up There Likes Ben, and it consists of an A and B story, as we know, because that's what this show is giving us. And the primary A story for this is Ben leaping into a prize fight boxer on the eve of his prize fight in 1977 in Las Vegas, a fella named Danny Hill. Now, Ben has to figure out why he's there with the help of Addison, who is having her own struggles at the same time throughout this episode. Now, Addison herself is suffering with exhaustion, shall we say. She's too ingrained in what's happening with Ben and wanting to get him back and all this sort of thing that she puts her own health at risk. Ben himself, they have to figure out why Ben's there. Now, Ben's got a brother who is his trainer, but his brother is suffering with a PTSD from his time in the war a few years beforehand, and this leads to him having taken his life the day after the fight. So Ben has to stop this from happening one way or another. And it does lead to some good moments. There's some nice moments between Ben and his brother, and some great moments between Ben and Addison. Now, I think the character of Ben is coming together. I quite enjoy the performance. It's not Scott Bakula, of course it isn't. Let's take this on its own merits. I don't think he's too much of a bad actor, this fellow. I think he's doing pretty damn good. And his relationship with Addison is slowly evolving, which is a fantastic thing. But the thing that's bringing me back to this series more than anything is actually the B story. Now, like most people, I was a bit put off by the fact that so much time was spent with the team working in the Quantum Leap project and all this sort of a thing. But this is where the show differs from the original Quantum Leap, and this is where it is giving us the answers to questions that were posed from the original Quantum Leap. But in doing so, like I said, more questions come into play, and it could inadvertently hurt the original Quantum Leap and people's theories on stuff that happened. Now, in this B story, we get to see Beth again, obviously played by the original actress from the original Quantum Leap, which is fantastic. And Al's daughter comes into play again, Janice. And we come to find out that Beth has got a load of stuff held over from the Quantum Leap project that Al had kept a hold of, including Ziggy's little hand, the hand device that Al had to contact Ziggy. And Janice wants all this stuff for her own reason. We also come to find out that the code that Ben has inputted into the Quantum Leap computer is leading him, as we know, it's leading him to a certain path, but it's leading him in such a way that he'll be able to jump anywhere, jump outside of his own lifetime, which he does within the context of this episode. But essentially, they're saying that he could go anywhere. And again, this is kind of treading on the toes of the original Quantum Leap, and I'll come into that. That being said, the stuff here is very intriguing because it is attempting to give us answers and give us, you know, the questions that we had as fans as to what happened to Sam back in the day. But do we need those answered or don't we? I mean, it's nice to get into this stuff. And this is where this series tends to be split in a lot of people, because a lot of people have issue with this sort of B-side story. They sort of want the original Quantum Leap, where it is each episode is the leap of the day. Well, if that's the sort of thing that you want, then really all you want is a remake series, not a follow-up series. But this series is giving you that, but at the same time it's giving you a continuation of the Quantum Leap story. And this is where most of the intrigue will come from for this series, I believe so. And it's the stuff that I'm enjoying the most. That being said, there are some issues with the whole science behind it, and a sort of contradiction that comes into play with the original Quantum Leap. So it's mentioned in this episode that Ben's code kind of diverts around certain safety protocols that are set in place within the Quantum Leap project. Now, these safety protocols, reading between the lines, are what keeps someone leaping within their own lifetime. As opposed to it just being a thing. As opposed to it just being a sort of thing where your lifetime is the extent of what you can leap. It's now the code that's written as a safety protocol that only allows you to leap within this sort of parameters. So essentially you can leap anywhere if these protocols are taken down, these safety protocols, and it kind of detracts in that sense. Not only that, they also come to say in this episode that Ben may be 10 or 20 leaps away from hitting that goal, that location that he needs or wants to get to for whatever reason this may be. Maybe Sam's stuck back there, who knows. 10 to 20 leaps, I just thought, Christ, that's convenient, isn't it? Considering a half season would be no more than 10 episodes, a full season would be little more than 20 episodes. You see where I'm going? It just felt very convenient in the context of the length of what one series could potentially be in case of cancellation, if they knew they were being cancelled and they wanted to give it an ending. Yeah, it's very sort of... It just made me laugh. That now, some of the issues I had with the questions with this is that, obviously, we come to find out between Beth and Janice that Al had kept this information, and that Al always wanted to find out what had happened to Sam. And this poses more questions, in that if Sam originally went back and changed the timeline so that Sam, Al and Beth were together, then how is it that the rest of the timeline stays intact, the original timeline that Al was working with Sam? Do you see what I'm saying? And in doing what they've done, they're sort of trying to answer some questions, but leaving more questions for the viewer, which just confuses the whole matter. Now, the one thing this episode does explain to me, and this is a question that I've asked, and people come out with different theories. Now, my theory is that Sam's body was always in the waiting room. Okay, and it's his consciousness that leaps into the body of someone else. But then other people have the theory that it's an aura, that it's actually Sam's body, but there's an aura of the other person around them that other people see. So Sam's leaping in his body, and other people just see the other person as an aura. But this episode answers that it is sort of, you're leaping into the body of the individual, as I always said, because they say about the prize fighter and his physique and his body is what will be up there fighting, just Ben doesn't know the moves and the technique and all this sort of stuff. So that answers that question to start with. But then so where is Sam's body? If it was in the waiting room, was Sam then giving his body back to leap? I don't know. Too many questions. But anyway, so as an episode, I felt that episode 2 was probably a little bit better than this. And this one come back down. Although I like how, like I said, some of the characters are coming together and forming, and they're kind of sliding into their roles, especially you know, the character of Ben. He's, you know, yeah, it's not bad. It's not a bad series. It's not Quantum Leap, the original Quantum Leap, but there's enough intrigue of me trying to find out what's going on with the Beth and Janice stuff for me to continue watching. And it's that sort of B storyline that does interest me the most. Although some of the characters there are so underdeveloped at the moment that I really don't care about them. The ones in the team. But we'll see how this show gets on. Anyway, let me know your thoughts on this episode and how it came across to you. Are you sticking with this show? Are you jumping ship? Let's talk about it down below. And hit that all-important subscribe button. And I'll see you later all in a week's time. Take care and goodbye.